The upcoming stories can all be found in various religious texts, but the atheist content creators telling the stories are drunk. So, whilst the stories are genuine, the details may be embellished. A little. Welcome to Holy Spirits.
Worst product I feel like I've tasted. A&W ice cream sundae, zero sugar. Zero sugar shit is always just way sweeter. And so may your foreskins redeem you and purchase you many women. Oh, that sucks. I know that I've showed you this a couple of times by accident. Because when we were at NanoCon, I got I was pretty tipsy drunk kind of thing. So like I showed this to you twice. But for people that don't know, that don't watch me or whatnot, and everything, I have bullet whiskey stones, and so I broke these out for this episode, and that's what I've got going on over here. Just in case. I don't put ice in my whiskey normally. Cool. I don't like. Yeah, I don't like to water it down. I like to go full America, and I really like to bring some freedom to my whiskey.
Oh, bro Cephas on that whiskey.
Yeah, put some bro Cephas on that whiskey. What's up? I'm sorry. I fucked that up. What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless Engineer, and today I'm drunkenly recounting a story from the Hebrew Bible. And this one's interesting because it plays on a lot of different aspects of the Hebrew Bible. Like, the fact that you can purchase women, and also the fact that God really likes it when you cut off the tip of your dick. I don't know why God likes that, but apparently he really gets off on seeing you cut the tip of your dick off. And in this particular instance, God has purposefully selected, excuse me, one more time. Nope, false alarm. This time, King Saul is going to have a particular payment for buying his wife. Now, the Bible is going to describe this as marriage, right? I mean, fuck. There went.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah. So I got a mixture of A&W, like this A&W Sunday cream, ice cream sundae, zero sugar, and whiskey going on, and so it has a really weird combination. King Saul, right? I don't know if y'all remember King Saul, but King Saul is one of those favored kings by God, but then later, he disappoints God. He got like a B on a report card or something. And Saul is going to require of David, that fuck that killed the giant guy, who's probably like a 7-foot, just regular dude, but he had a slingshot with a rock in it and just threw it really hard. Apparently that's like impressive. I don't know. I can throw rocks hard. I don't know if I can throw it that hard. I've never tried to kill a person with a rock, but just saying, like, I can throw shit hard. But David, killing the giant with the rock, David versus Goliath. And David, though, wants to purchase himself a wife. Not just any wife. He wants to purchase himself Saul's daughter to, I guess maybe put himself in a good position to, like, be king one day. I mean, I'm not exactly sure. But what I do know is that King Saul has a very unusual request of David. If you're looking for a very specific, like, Bible verse, you want to go and look in your, let's turn in our Bibles to 1 Samuel 18. And we're going to go there, and we're going to sing King Saul asking for 100 Philistine foreskins. as a quote bride price. Now, if you're not sure what a bride price is, that's what you pay in order to purchase a woman at this time, not marry. It's not like I get dowries and everything like that. That's just basically buying a woman. And that's exactly what they did in the Bible. And I feel like more people need to get like comfortable with that fact. And there's a lot of Christians out there that don't like this idea that God never really sanctioned marriage because there's no Hebrew word for marriage. I don't know if many people know that, but like all of the Hebrew words that are typically translated as marry or marriage or anything like that is typically words that are actually meant to like seize or to take ownership of women. And so it's never really marry, as if there's like consent and shit involved. So, anyways, David, regardless of his of King Saul's daughter's wishes or consent, wants to purchase his daughter, and so 100 Philistine foreskins is the price. And so, basically, David's like, "Oh yeah, hold my whiskey," and then he goes off, and he, is unaliving. Sorry, TikTok language. He's killing, murdering, genociding a bunch of Philistine people. And this man, if you just think about it, during wartime, they're going out, they're attacking Philistines, right? They're attacking them because that's just what barbaric, pre, common era people did. They just attacked other people, took land, took people, and everything like that. So he's out there attacking people, and then specifically David is going around and specifically cutting off the foreskins of all of the dead Philistines. So just imagine, which, I mean, to be honest, it never really specifies when David cut off the foreskins. I mean, if David's in charge of the army, he could be like, I want you to keep all the men alive so I can personally cut off their foreskins right in front of them, and then you can kill them. Like, that's a possibility. Another possibility is that he just went around the dead, on the battlefield, and, he fondled their dicks and then cut off the foreskins. I don't know. It seems kind of weird to me, but right up the maggot alley. But in any case, he comes back with not just 100 foreskins, but he comes back with a dirty, smelly ass bag of 200 Philistine foreskins. All right. And keep in mind, people didn't like bathe every day. And if they're going to battle, I don't expect them to be like, oh, should I put on Old Spice? Like, what's that Old Spice that I use? It's like Mojo or something. I don't know. Anyways, swagger. They're not like, oh, I should put on my swagger, and like I should definitely put on my beard oil and everything like that. And I should go out there smelling like, fantastic. No. I mean, he's basically carrying in a bag of like smelly, bloody, like pieces of human skin, which are foreskin of the dick, which already smells horribly if you're not like washing it every day. And so like he's got a smelly ass bag of foreskins, and he like plops it down on the table in front of Saul, and he's like, bet 200 foreskins, give me your daughter. And the rest is, I guess, biblical history there. I mean, he ends up buying the daughter. Of course, David's got his own problems as far as king goes. He ends up disappointing God as well. I mean, obviously cutting off 200 Philistine foreskins and buying a woman wasn't enough. He also had to send off some poor schmucks, off to like the front lines so that he could die, just so that David could bang his wife, and but the husband didn't die. Maybe he did die. I don't know. It's been a while since I fucking read that one. But in any case, God gets pissed off about that and kills his kid. My wife says, moral of the story is you can buy a woman with a bag of dicks, or at least partial parts of a dick. Yeah. So it's like, how much do you cost? 200 pieces of a dick, I guess. But yeah, so David literally bought a woman King David. Now, also, I just want to point out, sorry, I know I'm drunkenly going off subject here. Just want to point out here that this is King David, the one that Jesus Christ supposedly is descended from, the one that's held up, on high by either Christians or Jews or whatnot. Like they think so highly of him, but like he purchased a woman with a bag of dicks. Like, I don't understand why anybody would prop that person up, put that person up on a pedestal, but they're all like, oh, he's so great. And, Jesus is just descended from him. So like, obviously you got to stand for him. And he literally purchased a woman with a bag of dicks. Like, I don't get it. And when I was a Christian, I never really thought about it. But once I deconstructed and everything, and I thought about it, it's like, yeah, this seems a little fucked up. But it's not until after that deconstruction where I was like, yeah, this is a really fucked up story. Like, why are you purchasing women with a bag of dicks? Like, normally you send a bag of dicks to like have somebody eat them because they're stupid or something. But like in this case, it's like, here, have a bag of dicks. I know that you're hungry, so give me your daughter. Like, that seems like a really fucking weird, like, sentence to utter, but it's literally something that's in the Bible, and I genuinely don't understand it.
Here's what I know. I know that we humans have evolved for communing with one another. We've evolved for community. We've evolved for relationship. And with that, oftentimes, what is it that binds us together? It's food and beverage. It's burgers and drink. Okay. Vegan burgers included. I'm not a meat apologist, but burgers, veggie burgers, bean burgers. I love a good bean burger. Listen, that's not the point. The point is food and beverage. It unites us in our humanity to the very core of who we are. We exchange food and we exchange drink. And it can be mocktails. Mocktails are fucking great. Everybody, inclusive, all of us, together advancing this hellscape we all call humanity on Earth. Cheers, fuckers. And to building a better world and living out a healthier humanity. Building a better world and living out a healthier humanity. Let's fucking do it. Let's go. Cheers, fuckers. Boom. I reinvigorate or reiterate. Maybe reiterate rather than reinvigorate. Maybe both. That I like to maintain a nice, even keel buzz. I don't really care to get drunk, but I'm taking one for the team. I am more inebriated than I normally intend to be. But I said, let's make this show fucking great. Let's fucking do it all the way. Fuck yeah. My name is Drew Bekius, and I am a former minister. And this is a story I actually used to, everything I'm about to say, I preached on. Okay. Like, this was my perspective as an actual preacher from the emerging. Actually, I take everything I just said back. When I was a preacher, I drank wine regularly. When I was an evangelical preacher, I did not drink real booze regularly. Jesus shit, I'm falling apart here, folks. Falling fucking apart. My name is Drew Bekius. I am a former preacher, son of Kevin Bekius, minister of the Church of West Hills Community Church of Westmont, Illinois, bridging the gap, the highest peak, the highest land marker of all of DuPage County, Illinois. Half of our property on Westmont, Illinois, and the other half on Clarendon Hills, Illinois. So we called ourselves West Hills, west from Westmont, hills from Clarendon Hills. We bridge peoples. We bridge humanity with the love of Jesus fucking Christ. And in this we drink and remember thee. Cheers, motherfuckers. What we're going to talk about tonight is not a story so much as a legal code, but it's one that's important. And it's one that was intentionally included within the narrative mythological structure, the story structure of ancient Israel for a God's be damned reason. We're talking, folks, about Leviticus, a couple sentences, one particular legal strand from Leviticus, from Leviticus 19, and also from Deuteronomy 24. Okay, are we ready, motherfuckers? Are we ready to study the word of the gods, or at least one in particular named Yahweh? Let's go.
I thought I was here to study Buddhism, and I have been led astray.
I don't know how you want me to respond. As the ancient Hebrews were gathering as a people, it is believed, determined to be, that give or take around 500 years BCE, before the Common Era, that around that time they started saying, okay, so as a people group, we need to start compiling a written, unified history, a unified story, a unified legal code. Like, who are we? They looked back at like Hammurabi of the Mesopotamians, which were like 1700 BCE. And they said, right, so we need to compile our own story. What does that look like? And so within this, we find what many of us would think of as the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, or the first 5 books of the Bible in general. As Christians, for many of us, we think of, like, what are they? Genesis, Leviticus, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, the first 5 books about the Pentateuch. So it's widely believed that it was around 500 BCE, before the Common Era, when leaders of the Hebrew people, of the ancient Israelites, started compiling these stories and saying, okay, well, what they were doing was saying, okay, so there's all these oral narratives. There's all these stories that have been handed down. Let's actually document them. Let's write them down for the people ahead of us, in order to, the goal was to, how would you say it? The goal was to unify a national identity, a national history, a national, just a national, fucking. So around the year 500 BCE, 500 years before our Common Era, okay? Around that time, It seems that the leaders of Israel were starting to compile all of these oral histories. And so part of it is story, part of it is history, part of it, though, is legal code. They looked at, so at this time, there were also many other cultures that had legal code that were written in. So, like Hammurabi of 1700, whatever, BCE, where they wrote down laws that dictated the ethics and the morality and the legality of their people group. So we have that happening here in the form of Genesis, Numbers, Leviticus, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. What I'm interested in here today is not so much all the bullshit, because there's a lot of bullshit in there. There really fucking is. There's a lot of pro-slavery. There's a lot of misogyny. There's a lot of anti-LGBTQ plus. There's a lot of bullshit in the fucking legal code. But what I want to focus on here today, because that might be helpful, what the fuck are we talking about, is one particular line of legislation that interests me. And it's from the book of Leviticus, chapter 19 in our contemporary English Bibles. This is the Bible, by the way, that I used to preach from when I was a evangelical preacher. So Leviticus 19. Leviticus 19:9 says this: when you reap the harvest of your land, do not reap to the very edges of your land, or gather the gleanings of your harvest. Do not go over the vineyard a second time, or pick up the grapes that have fallen. Leave them for the poor and the alien, which, alien, what, E.T., motherfucker? Maybe a better translation of that Hebrew word would be the foreign born or the immigrant. And then it ends, I am Yahweh your God. And then it says, do not steal, do not lie, do not deceive one another. Okay, so with all of this, okay, so we see this here. So do not, as you're going around your field, do not take it all the way to the corners. Why would it say that? Do not, it's your fucking field. It's your fucking farm, whatever. What do you mean you can't fucking go all the way to the corners? That's for the poor. That's for the fucking foreign born. That's for the immigrant. Well, what do you mean? So what we have here is literally where you can picture the person. And here's maybe where the story comes in. You can picture the person where they're like, listen, I have this farm. I have my property. I have my fucking fields. And you can picture somebody being like, this is my field. These are my crops. I fucking planted this shit. And yet the word of Yahweh, the word of their God, the word from what the legal code that is inserted here, which, yes, fucking shit, a chapter earlier, which they weren't divided into chapters earlier on. It's us English speakers who divide into chapters. But earlier on in Leviticus chapter 8, it's like, yeah, all this fucking bullshit anti-LGBTQ plus shit, right? So like, should any of this be binding? Not necessarily. But if you're going to consider this the inspired, inerrant word of fucking your God, that sounds fun. Anyway, if you're going to consider it that, then it also says that the shit that is yours is not only fucking yours. Your fucking field, your corners do not belong to you. You harvest, but not all of it. You leave the corners for the poor, for the foreign born, the immigrant. Okay. But then what really excites me is, so we continue on. It's actually repeated. The legal code is repeated. So I don't want to go too far into what all of this ancient Hebrew legal code is, but basically what you have in Leviticus, including the 10 Commandments from Exodus, all of that is then repeated in Deuteronomy, which is like the second uttering of all of the legal code, according to mythology, that was all compiled and written down in and around 500, the year 500 BCE. So then we have in Deuteronomy chapter 4, we have that actually written again. And here's where it says, I'm going to read it again. By the way, again, this is the Bible I preached from when I was an evangelical minister. So it says here, when you are harvesting in your field and you overlook a sheaf. Jesus, I'm at the point for the sake of Dr. Penn where it's becoming hard to read. Okay, so when you are harvesting in your field and you overlook a sheaf of grain, do not go back to get it. Well, why wouldn't I go back to get it? It's my fucking sheaf. It's my fucking field. When you are harvesting in your field and you overlook a sheaf, do not go back to get it, says the word of your God, Yahweh. Instead, leave it for the alien, the foreign-born, the immigrant. Also for the fatherless and the widow, so that Yahweh your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. When you beat the olive from your trees, do not go over the branches a second time. You've got olives. You're beating your olives, whatever you want to call it. You're beating your olives. You beat it once. You beat your olive branch once. You beat it more and more olives come off your branch, you fucking leave them. So that Yahweh your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. Yes, beating your branch. Do not go over the branches a second time. Leave what remains for the immigrant and the fatherless and the widow. When you harvest the grapes, so we've gone from the fields to the olives to the grapes. When you harvest the grapes in your vineyard, do not go over the vines a second time. Leave what remains to the immigrant, the fatherless, and the widow. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt. That is why I command you to do this. Okay, so here we see in this second rendition in Deuteronomy chapter 4, they're re-impacting. You go over your fields once, and what is left behind is for, in Leviticus, they said for the poor and the foreign born or the immigrant. Now in Deuteronomy, they say it's for the immigrant, the fatherless, and the widow. They take out the poor. Okay. Maybe maybe that's because they're looking for certain people groups that are more likely to be impoverished, right? Those who are widows in a society where women are not allowed to work, right? Maybe it's because of the orphaned, the fatherless, where they do not have the financial backing in a sphere, in a realm where women are not allowed to work. So if you're fatherless, you're fucked. Okay. But so we have this. In all of this, though, it's saying what? The big common theme is what? You go over your shit once. You're a farmer, you have land, you're a landowner, you have land. You go over your shit once, and the rest is left to everyone around you. They have rights to it. Now, here's the thing. I want to pull from this, and this is literally shit that I preached as an evangelical minister. I was of what was called the evangelical left. I was part of what was called the emerging church. And in here, within the evangelical left, within the emerging church, here's what we believed. Here's what we actively taught because of passages, parts of the Hebrew Bible like this, as well as others. We could talk about others another fucking time. The shit you have is not just for you. The shit you have is not just for yours. And here's the thing. I'm going to break this down a little more clearly. Deuteronomy, many evangelical, and I'm going to say evangelical because evangelicals today are different than evangelicals. Here's how I define evangelical. An evangelical is someone who, at the end of the day, believes that whatever the Bible says is truth. Whatever the Bible says, it's from God and it's from truth. That said, if you can make a good, strong argument that the Bible legitimately says X, Y, or Z, and you're willing to rely on it, then that is truth. And yes, we believed that the Bible was truth. However, when we looked at shit like this, how do we interpret Deuteronomy? So there's a good, strong argument that Deuteronomy, the book of Deuteronomy, the fifth book of the Pentateuch, of the first 5 books of the Bible, there's a good, strong argument that Deuteronomy is the entire book, is a commentary on the 10 Commandments. And that this section of Deuteronomy chapter 4 is 24, rather, Deuteronomy 24, as well as Deuteronomy 25 and Deuteronomy 26, that all of those chapters, actually, yeah, that those, oh my God. Oh, when you've had too much to drink, you won't. The entire book of Deuteronomy is commentary on the 10 Commandments. Deuteronomy 24, 25, and 26 is believed in certain areas of scholarship to be commentary on the 10th commandment. What is the, and here's where, okay, folks, Jesus fucking Christ. If you're drunk as I am, you're probably like, fuck, what the fuck? Why am I watching this? Where is this going? I actually preached this shit when I was a believing minister. Deuteronomy 24, 25, and 26 is commentary on the 10th commandment. Do not covet. Everything prior, so in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5, lists out the 10 commandments. They're also earlier in the Bible. They're listed for the first time earlier in the Bible, but they're listed a second time in Deuteronomy chapter 5. The 10 commandments are. And then everything from Deuteronomy chapter 5 through Deuteronomy chapter 6, at least how we split it, you do realize that the original, none of this shit has chapters in it. We've added that, right? So Deuteronomy 6 through 26 is commentary on the 10 commandments, 1 through 10. 6 through 23 is commentary on the first 9 commandments. 24, 25, and 26 is commentary on the 10th commandment, which is do not covet. So bear with me. The concept is this. Deuteronomy 24. Let's go back there. If this is Deuteronomy, the 10th commandment is this, right? Do not covet. Thou shalt not covet your neighbor's wife, your neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's land, thy neighbor's servant. If you're a slave-holding motherfucker, fuck right the fuck off. But if you're a slave-holding motherfucker that's also a prominent advocate of Deuteronomy 20 of Deuteronomy period, then I guess, have your own fucking slaves, but don't covet your neighbors. Fucking assholes. Do not covet your neighbor's animals. And then it says this, do not covet anything your neighbor has. And then we come to this, where it is a commentary on the rest of Deuteronomy is applying the 10 commandments to real fucking life. And this section is commentary. This section I read earlier is commentary on how the 10th commandment, do not covet your neighbor's anything, applies to real fucking life, which includes when you harvest the grain from your own fucking field, you don't even go to the corners, because that's for the foreign born, that's for the immigrant and the fatherless and the widow, that's for the vulnerable. And then it goes on to say, when even the rest of it, when you go over it once, you only go over it once. And anything you miss, you don't go back for the gleanings. What's the fuck is the gleanings? The gleanings are the leftovers. You get one swipe over your own fucking field. You only get one God's be damned swipe. And everything else, it belongs to the foreign born. It belongs to the immigrant, to the fatherless, to the widow. They get to go in your shit, and they get to take whatever you missed. That's theirs. The book of Ruth, the mythology narrative of Ruth, all of that starts off by her having rights, by Ruth having rights to enter your fucking field and take what's hers. And it's there where she meets fucking Boaz, who later on produces the line of succession that leads to Jesus, your fucking Messiah. Because she was exercising her right to your goddamn field. Because it's not yours. Because it's not yours. And so in all of this, what does this tell us? What does this fucking teach us? This folklore, this fucking mythology. It says, listen, you might own the field, but but everything that comes from it is not your own. You get to go over it once and not even all of it. The gods gave it to you. Yahweh gave it to you. But it is not fucking yours. Now, for those of us who don't believe in supernatural bullshit, maybe we do believe it's all ours and we still want to give of it freely and generously anyways. But for those who believe the fucking Bible, the fucking scriptures, it literally says in here, it's yours, but it's not yours. It's yours for the purpose of having the joy of blessing others with it. It's your fucking field. It's your fucking vineyard. Deuteronomy also adds fucking olives to the picture that weren't there before. It's your fucking olive tree. It's your fucking field. It's your fucking vineyard. But it's not just yours. You get to go over most of it once. The rest of it, you don't get to go over at all. It's not fucking yours. It's for the vulnerable. It's for those that don't have on their own. And the rest of it, after you've gone over it once, not the corners, after you've gone over it once, anything you left behind, that's theirs. This is the fucking 10 commandments. It's the 10th commandment. Thou shalt not covet. You know what that means? It means if your greedy ass insists on having everything you generate, then you're coveting over shit that's not fucking yours. Your greedy ass. Your own fucking religion thinks you're a greedy sack of shit. Why should the rest of us encourage it? None of us own everything that we generate. Call us what you want. That's what your own fucking book of mythology dictates. Cheers, fuckers.
Cheers.